Well, we've been off for a couple of weeks in regards to RPL racing for everyone in this regard here, but we are coming up for a new season on hand for RPL, and the seasons that we are going to be going into here tonight, we have Tier 1, Season 14, Season 19 of Tier 2, and Season 7 of Tier 3. So, we'll be diving into each tier. We'll be going over the tiers, we'll be going over the driver lineups, the racetracks, and a few personal opinions of my own on who's going to be the best pairing, weakest pairing, all that fun stuff. So, Titan Ironwolf on hand for this overview, and cannot wait to get this show on the road. So let us begin. Let us begin with Tier 3. Now, we'll be going in order via the cars. So basically, we'll be going from McLaren all the way down to Kick Sauber. So might as well go for that, you know. But let's have some fun here. So unfortunately, I don't have like the full graphics on what's going on in regards to the standings, like where everybody finished and everything, because EXO currently does not have the season finale graphics updated. But we'll get that figured out. But let's move on. So we'll start with the McLaren. So for Tier 3, this is where we're going to be going into. So McLaren, our driver pair, we have Dylan, who was in Tier 2 Alpine last season. He's going to be returning back to Tier 3, driving in the McLaren. And he will have Jensen Snowy driving along in the car with him. Jensen moving over from Red Bull Academy and will be in the top car of McLaren. So, and next up we have Ferrari. We have Pavlison, who we did see in Tier 3 last week in the Kick Sauber at Abu Dhabi. He will be in that car. He'll be joined by Bezzecchio in the Ferrari as well. This is going to be a good pair. We'll see what we're going to have in that for those guys. At Tier 3 for Red Bull, they have kept their second driver, that being Neymar. Neymar wound up finishing third in the Drivers' Championship after coming in third at the finale just 2 weeks ago. Scorenzi, who was bounced around between Aston and V-Carb last season, will be in the main Red Bull, mainly because Rhythms, the champion, got promoted up. So now we move to Mercedes. So Mercedes, in this one, we have RPL Ardell. He will be in taking a stand in the Mercedes. He will be joined by VRL Mickey. Mickey had a couple of races in McLaren, a couple of wins on his hand. He'll be going a step downwards into Mercedes, but he'll still be a good contender to fight for a championship in the due time. At Aston Martin, we have Timbed, who moved from being the Ferrari Academy assistant, and he'll be in the Aston Martin, and he'll be joined by an individual named Quincy. Quincy, I do not know much about. I believe he just joined the league a little bit ago, so we'll get that. So we'll probably know more about him as it goes onwards. Now, in Alpine, we have Ryan Searles returning. He'll be in the Alpine car. He was in Williams last season. He'll be joined by Matty 1929. Matty was in Ferrari Academy, but he's been moved over and he'll be in the Alpine. This will be a unique pair. So pretty much two old partners in Ferrari Academy last game. They're now reunited in Alpine. Now in Haas, we had the team principal of Ferrari Academy invade. He will be in the Haas car. Now he'll be joined by Yavez. Yavez, I believe, did a few races last season for Ferrari Academy. But now he'll be in full time. Can't wait to see what Yavez has in store. Alright, so now we move on to VCarb. We have Zero and another newcomer joining in. We have ADS. So we have two new rookies in those cars, so this will be unique in that regard. Now Kick Sauber. Now currently at the moment, there's only one driver in there right now. That being Gobert. Gobert moving from VCarb, and he's going to be in the Sauber. Now, the second spot is currently unconfirmed, because right now it is currently listed as vacant. However, Invade is waiting to hear back from Ridian on wanting to race full time. He's yet to hear back from him, but if it is confirmed yes, then Ridian will be in the second driver, will be in the Sauber. So, time could tell with that one. And now we have Williams. Williams, Savage, will continue on in the Williams car. He had one or two appearances in the Mercedes in Tier 3 last season. And he's going to be joined by Ivesy, who did see debut in Yas Marina a couple weeks ago. So we'll see how that will turn out. Now, let's go over the calendar. Let's go over the calendar for Tier 3 here for Season 7. So this coming Thursday, the 13th of November, Tier 3 will kick off their season around the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola, Italy. Then we have round 2 of Zandvoort. Now, round 3, which is for any people in the United States, it is Thanksgiving. Tier 3 will be at Spain. Round 4, we got Jeddah, the Jeddah Corniche circuit for round 4. Round 5, the halfway point, will be at Suzuka. And then round 6, up until our holiday break, will be at Melbourne for that one. And then after our little holiday break, because of Christmas and New Year's, we'll kick it off 2026 with round 7 for Tier 3, January 8th at Mexico. Then round 8 is going to be a mystery track. Ooh, fancy. Now, I can't remember what round. Oh, yeah. So, the mystery track last season was Qatar. And it was also a sprint event, too. To add even more chaos into the mix. So, can't wait Can't wait to see what mystery track Will has cooked up for this season. Now the penultimate round will be at Azerbaijan, and then the season finale will be at Interlagos. Now, let's go over a couple of opinions. Who do I think is the best driver pairing? Who is the weakest driver pairing? What pairing might be a bit of a surprise? Might pull some surprises? And who do I think might get the Drivers' Championship this season? Oh, I will say the strongest driver pairing, in my opinion, is Red Bull with Scarenzi and Neymar. I mean, Scarenzi has had plenty of outings in the Red Bull, has had good results. He even got a couple surprise podiums when he was in Aston in Tier 3. And then Neymar being highly consistent during his short stint in Tier 3 last season. But for him to have his first full season in Tier 3, I would say, in my opinion, Red Bull will be a very dangerous team to deal with this season. But in a close second would be the McLaren pair of Dylan and Jensen Snowy. But seeing Red Bull's dominance and how good their drivers are, Neymar and Scarenzi together in that Red Bull is one fierce pair to deal with. Now, as for the weakest pair, now if I had to go, now this would be, I would say, based off of, now if I had to exclude the two rookies involved, well, maybe three rookies, like Ivzy, Quincy, and ADS. If I had to exclude those rookies out, because usually an unknown rookie would really limit the pairing down. Now, no offense to you, Invade, but I would say Haas, would be the weakest pair. Now, no offense to Invade, he can work that car around and actually can get some decent results. The issue is his teammate Yavez. Yavez has had a lot of struggling last season, and let's just hope that struggles does not hinder Haas's progression going into the new season. So, like I said, no offense, Invade, but I think in regards to not including the rookies, the Haas pair is probably the weakest pair in my opinion. Now, who do I think will be who I think will probably pull some surprises? I would probably say Mercedes might pull a couple surprises with Ardell and Mick if they work well together and capitalize on any mistakes made by their sister team of McLaren. But I wouldn't rule them out to possibly pull off maybe an upset win or two, potentially. But let's move back into Red Bull here. And this team, this was the team that will have a driver's champion. But I'm not picking Scarenzi here. I would say the driver's champion, in my opinion, that could come out from the end of the season is going to be Neymar. Because Neymar was so close last season. He missed out by 26 points over his teammate. But now with a new season and rhythm's not there, I have a feeling that Neymar could capitalize and fight his way to becoming a driver's champion. I think he has what it takes. Now, as for other contenders that I think could probably fight for the driver's championship, Um, we have both McLarens, Jensen and Dillon. They could probably be fighters in regards to this. Seen from some of the times that I saw of this driver, I can't rule. I can probably say maybe Pavelson might try to fight as well. But I mean, anything is possible. I've heard a couple of his times is actually pretty solid. So maybe we could see a surprise Ferrari guy fighting in there as well. And probably you can't count Mick out in the Mercedes as well to possibly try to challenge as well for a driver's championship. So, that will conclude Tier 3 now. Let's move into Tier 2. Tier 2 Season 19. This is the group that we have on hand. Now, McLaren. So currently, we have a dilemma in regards to McLaren. So originally, the driver pair was supposed to be Mintoki and Lucas Rasmussen, aka Not Raz. Unfortunately, Mintoki is not going to be able to compete this season. I mean, Cookie has tried his magic. I've tried my magic. She has decided to step. She doesn't want to. Whatever's going on, but she is going to be out at this moment. But currently, we're figuring out an alternative right now. But at this moment right now, Not Raz is currently by himself for the time being. But stay tuned. We will probably before the first race, we will have that situation all figured out. Now, Ferrari. We have Lennon and Josh 433 in the Ferrari. Now, Josh 433, by the way, is now the new Tier 2 tier coordinator who took over from Mintoki from what I mentioned a little bit ago. So this is actually going to be a good, scary pair to deal with. But cannot wait to see what we got here. So, Red Bull for Tier 2. We have AMS Devon and Joe Wilson. Joe Wilson, the Season 5 champion from Tier 3. They're going to be together in the Red Bull. Now, Mercedes, we have Cryptic and Night Owl together in the Mercedes. Now, as said, with this whole Mintoki situation, this could be tentative. As said, just we'll keep that figured out, and you'll see probably by the coming of the first race. Now, Aston Martin, we have Rhythms, the Tier 3 the most recent Tier 3 champion. He'll be in the Aston Martin, and he's going to be joined by another Dylan. Not the Dylan that's in Mercedes Academy. Apparently, there's another Dylan in Tier 2, but he'll be in the Aston Martin with Rhythms. Alpine, we have Zakaria, and we have Zakaria in there. Now we have Zakaria and JTK in the Alpine. Now there was word that potentially JTK may not be allowed in Tier 2. Oh wait, sorry. That's Williams. That's Williams. Zakaria and GTK, they're in Williams. But yeah, GTK, there was discussion on if he was going to be allowed in Tier 2 this season or not. But with a couple of the results that he wound up having, the Tier 2 coordinator, Josh 433, said that he believes that GTK can remain in Tier 2 So that is going to be the good hindsight in that regard. But Alpine, we have Bartu, who is in. He's moved up from tier 3. He'll be in tier 2, and JMS, Jack MS. He did 2 races in Ferrari tier 2 last season. Solid results for him. So we'll see what he's got in store for that one. So for Haas, we have Alan J and SV. They will be partnered together in the Haas cars. While in V-Carb, we have Jack Miles and Veloce Ayub. Veloce, I was attempting a snag for tier 2, but Cal beat me to it, and yeah. So now last but not least, we have Sauber, we have Armchair Bike, and unfortunately he's by himself. Invade's trying his best to try to get a second Sauber to be in the tier 2 car. Hopefully he might find somebody. I mean, heck, in worst case scenario, he does have plenty of reserves, and he could even use a couple of his tier 3 boys if he wants to try to fill that spot in there. Now, the tier 2 calendar. So, their opening round will be at Australia. Then, the very next week for round 2 will be at Suzuka. Then, the day after Thanksgiving for US individuals, aka Black Friday, tier 2 will be at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Then round 4, we have Barcelona. And Austria will be the midpoint of the season. Then before the holiday break, round 6 will be at Silverstone. And then once we get back from the holiday break, January 9th, round 7 will also be at Mexico. Then we have Vegas for round 8, Qatar for the penultimate round, and just like tier 3, Interlagos will be the finale for tier 2. So, tier 2 and tier 3, pretty much about 6 races they share similarities with. I mean, the round 7 and the finales, they're dead on. And then they have Spain. They have Spain, Jeddah, Suzuka, and Australia appearing on their calendars, just in different places in that regard. Okay, so let's go over the best driver pairing, worst driver pairing, who will probably be surprises, and all that fun stuff. Well, I would say the best driver pairing is going to be the Ferraris of Lennon and Josh 433. Now, if Mintoki was going to be continuing on in the season, McLaren would have been hands down the best pairing, but with the whole Mintoki situation, that is now out the window. Okay, now the worst pairing. Now, I am excluding Sauber because Armchair Bike is by himself. I really don't want to hold that against them. But the worst pairing, this is actually extremely difficult because a lot of these pairs are actually really good. But if I had to say truthfully with one pairing that I think might be the weakest, it is going to have to be the Alpine pair of Bartu and JMS. Now, hear me out on this one. Yes, I am the co-team principal of Mercedes Academy, so you may be wondering, why in the world am I picking one of my teams as the worst pairing? Well, here's the thing. Bartu was a loose cannon in Tier 3 last season. Wound up getting like 16 penalty points in the span of that season. But he's made some really careless decisions. We've even had to we also had to chew him out over that stuff because we really don't want another Red Fire Tiger scenario to happen. So, and then also JMS. JMS has actually have a couple of good results, but he's also inconsistent here and there. So hopefully, if they can flush out their issues and mesh better, then maybe they'll be a good team. But for right now, because of their history, I would say they are going to be the worst pair. Close in second would have been the Haas team of Alan J and SV. No offense to you guys. I honestly don't have any surprises in mind. But if I had to name one, I would say probably Rhythms might throw some kind of a surprise at the end, sometime possibly. Yes, but I think Rhythms might pull a surprise this season on this group. Now, who do I think is going to get the Drivers' Championship? Well, I'm going high here, but I am picking not Raz to claim the Drivers' Championship this season. We've had McLaren continue the highs with their championships. I'm thinking it might continue again, and not Raz is in prime position to go for a championship of his own. Other contenders that I think could probably run for Drivers' Championship as well. I would say AMS Devon can probably will be one to throw his hat around and get some work done if possible. Both Ferraris, I would say Lennon and Josh 433 can also throw their hats into the mix as well and try to mix it up with the group as well. And one other person I would say could potentially be a fight for a Drivers' Championship as well would be Night Owl in the Mercedes. Now, let's move on to the nitty gritty. Oh wait, we are done with Tier 2. Now let's move on to the main event. That being Tier 1. So here's your driver lineups for Tier 1. McLaren, we have Cookie, the defending champion. He'll be partnered with Willow. This is no doubt, and I will say straight out of gate, this is the best pairing for Tier 1. This is the best pair. Because, I mean, with Cookie trying to go for a Tier 1 record 2 this season, and with Willow staying in close competition with him, this is probably one of the most deadliest duos to come out from recent games. In the Ferrari, we have F1 Shorts. Shorts moving out from the Williams. He'll be going into Ferrari, and he's going to be joined by Raphael. So, Raphael going to be going into the car, and Shorts moving from Ferrari to moving from Mercedes Academy to Ferrari Academy. This is going to be quite a unique spectacle here. Red Bull, TRT Andrea retains his seat, but he's got a new teammate. He's got Edvin Nashland. Yeah, no joke. The guy that appeared every now and again in the Ferraris actually had a win. Had a win to his that had. No, he had a couple of podiums to his credit, but he is going into the Red Bull. So I would say Edvin could have a chance to go for his first ever win in Tier 1. Mercedes, we got another dangerous duo. We have Skither and Gecko together in the Mercedes. No doubt the top four cars have some of the best lineups, have the best pairings I've seen in quite a while. So we're gonna see wars. We're gonna see a war for like second and third in the constructor standings. We're gonna see a war between these three teams. Now, Aston Martin, we have Alex Norris and Torn Penguin. Torn Penguin moving up from Tier 2 into Tier 1. Alex Norris having his shining moments in Ferrari, Haas, and Sauber. Getting Sauber's only points of the season in Abu Dhabi a couple weeks ago. He's now going to be moving to Aston Martin. So, well, Alex Norris, that means I think we'll probably potentially see a couple races that we'll see Alex Norris maybe in that Red Bull. Alpine, we got Reese Dainty and Beatnik teaming together. Beatnik had some races in Red Bull last season. Reese retaining his spot. This will be a phenomenal group here. Now, Haas. We have Goatley and Kyo Senshi being in there. Kyo Senshi had a couple of races towards the tail end of the season. Had a good moment in Vegas about a month ago. Yeah, cannot wait to see what we got here. So now going to VCarb. Fake TB returns back to active competition. He's going to be in the VCarb. He's going to be joined by Tier 2 champion Liral Fusion. Wow. Talk about a star-studded lineup. Fusion, the most recent Tier 2 champion, partnering with TB, a former Tier 1 champion. Ooh, fun stuff. And then in Williams, we have Florian Van Zelter making his return back to racing here in Tier 1. He did 3 rounds in last season before he had to go away for football camp, but he is back and he's hungry for points. And his partner, the runner-up in Tier 2, Maxwell. That's right, Maxwell is back in Tier 1. After finding his form and honing his skills back in Tier 2, he is back in Tier 1. We cannot wait. And then, last but not least, Cam and Bourbon are in the Sauber. Now, I will say straight up, this lineup, the pairings for all the teams, this is no doubt, in my opinion, the best 20 drivers we have in Tier 1 in a long time. I mean, we have a lot of star-studded pairings that honestly, this will be a first, but I cannot in good conscience choose the worst pair. I cannot in good conscience do that, because every pair is good. I just cannot choose it. But the best pairing, I did say earlier on, was the McLaren of Cookie and Willow. I mean, this is going to be your danger pairs. Now, the calendar. 20 rounds on hand, with the first round happening on November 15th this coming Saturday. And the final round of Yas Marina Abu Dhabi, that will be in April 11th. So here we go. So, the first half of the season, round 1 to round 10, we have Bahrain as the season opener, Jeddah Corniche round 2, Shanghai in round 3, Suzuka round 4, Miami round 5, Imola round 6, Montreal round 7, Austria for round 8, Silverstone for round 9, and Spa will be the halfway point. For the second half of the season, we have the Hungaroring for round 11, Zandvoort for round 12, Monza for 13, Baku for 14, Singapore 15, Austin Circuit of the Americas for round 16, Interlagos for round 17, Vegas for round 18, Qatar for round 19, and the season finale will be at Abu Dhabi. And that will be at April 11th, is the last race of Season 14, Tier 1. Now, who will be fighting for the Drivers' Championship? Well, who will claim it? Well, I will say, I believe it is going to be Cookie, who will claim his third Drivers' Championship, and he will join a small list of a few drivers to have at least 3 championships in all of RPL. But he is looking to become the second ever person to have 3 championships in Tier 1. The only one to do that right now is Luke, with seasons 3, 4, and 5. Cookie has season 10, season 13, but can he get season 14 on his belt? As for contenders to possibly fight for a Drivers' Championship, if that is possible, we have Cookie's teammate Willow. Can try to fight if necessary. Skither in the Mercedes, I think can be a good fighter as well. Schwartz in the Ferrari, I think he could probably try to mount a challenge if everything goes correctly and according to plan. And I probably wouldn't count out the Red Bulls of Edvin and Andrea possibly throwing some wrenches into the works. Cookie winning by over 100 points. I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, it did take a little bit for him to get it last season, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Well, that is going to conclude this season overview for tonight. So, can't wait. As I mentioned in the calendars, we have this coming Thursday, Tier 3, will be at Imola. Then Friday, Australia for Tier 2 for their first round, and then Bahrain will be the season opener for Tier 1. Now, as for the commentary situation, one thing I will note in regards to that, I will be on hand for Tier 1 every week. I'll be on hand for comms every week, so can't wait to see you all for these races. Now, Tier 3, we have Beatnik and F1 Shorts. They will be on hand for comms during the course of the Tier 3 season. And Tier 2. Now, Beatnik was the main one, but unfortunately because of work constraints, he can only do Tier 3 now, which is very unfortunate. So for Tier 2, right now, potentially for full-time commentary, we have Faded F1 on hand. Shorts and Invade have also said that they are available to help with commentary, but only for a couple of races. But we will work in regards to that. So keep an eye for those voices on hand for your commentary teams for the tiers on hand. But thank you all again for being part of this RPL season overview of Tier 3 Season 7, Tier 2 Season 19, and Tier 1 Season 14. Titan Ironwolf signing off. We'll see you Thursday.